amazing because they are non-electric and fully automated. No computers to fry, no timers to reset. We install it and you get back to the hobbies you actually enjoy.
If you want soft water, do what I did and leave that to Connecticut. It runs on water power, not willpower. Learn more at softwaterutah.com. That's softwaterutah.com.
Tuesday tacos, Sunday roast, backyard burgers. Whatever is on your table, make it Bar W Beef. Trust matters. Knowing where the beef was raised, what it was fed, and where it was processed isn't a mystery at Bar W Beef. Dry-aged 14 days. Steaks, brisket, ground beef bundles, premium cuts without premium markup. Shipped straight to your door. This is Utah beef. If you can't shake the hand of the rancher behind your beef, maybe it's time to try barwbeef.com or visit the store in Nephi.
97.5 KZNS FM Colville, 1280 KZNS AM Salt Lake City, and KSL FM HD2 Salt Lake City Midvale. This is 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Welcome back, welcome back, welcome back. Welcome back.
Yeah, man, how you doing? You good? I know you like that. You good? I know you like that. How long you been back, man? I see the girls in the club, they getting wild for me. And all the pretty chicks all wanna smile at me. These rap cats, man, they all got...
Welcome in. It is another edition of the Saturday Show here on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. I'm Alex Napoles. Still no Christian Esparza as he continues the baby sabbatical, but rumor has it he'll be back on Monday. Sitting in for Christian Esparza, it's Parker Long. Parker, how's it going, man?
I'm doing great. Happy to do this one last time before Christian gets back from his baby sabbatical. Glad he can spend a little bit more time with his newborn baby boy. It's really exciting. You only get so much time with kids like that. So
absolutely,
he can take as much time as he needs. I'm happy to be here. I'll be happy when he comes back, though.
Thanks for jumping on, man.
Yeah,
throughout the course of the last 3 weeks now. So we appreciate it. Sean, sitting behind the glass, pushing the button. Sean, all good?
Oh, yeah. Great spring so far.
There you go, man. We did have snow this week.
We did.
Yeah.
Cold.
Fantastic spring. But I feel like it works well because it is time now for the NHL playoffs. And so the snow helps us bring in the first ever NHL playoffs coming to the state of Utah. The full schedule is announced. You know the opponent. The Utah Mammoth will be taking on the Vegas Golden Knights in the first round. They do end up this season with a 5-3 loss to St. Louis, but at that point, no playoff implications. It would have been nice to see the Mammoth, end off the season with a win in a tune-up game, but you lose 5-3 and you move on, and now all the focus is on Vegas, and all the focus is on tomorrow night. 8 p.m. when Utah opens up Game 1 against Las Vegas.
Yeah, ESPN making us stay up a little bit later than we're used to watch this, but it's super exciting. Like I know when they came over last year, when they were the Utah Hockey Club, like we were all hoping that they would make the playoffs, and that was kind of pie in the sky at the time, but you could kind of sense that like it was sooner rather than later, and the fact that it is sooner, the soonest of soon.
Yeah.
It feels awesome, and it's really exciting to have this. And the fact that it's not like, oh, this is going to be played at a neutral site somewhere. It's going to be here. Playoff hockey here at the Delta Center, at least 3 games. And like that's an opportunity for an already just wild and super passionate Mammoth fan base to like really just dial it up another couple of notches. Like forget about it going to 11. It might go to 14 or 15 at the Delta Center.
The full schedule has been announced, so you will have Game 1 on Sunday, as we mentioned. Game 2 will happen Tuesday. That one also happening in Vegas. And then Friday, April 24th, here across the street at Delta Center, Utah will become the 26th state to host NHL playoffs. And that's phenomenal. To be able to do it in year 2, to be able to go from after the craziness that happened almost 2 years ago to the day of being able to bring this franchise in, being able to get it up and running so as quickly as Ryan Smith and company did. And now here we are, year 2 of the Mammoth. They're getting ready for NHL playoffs, and I'm really excited for the fans of Utah to experience the playoff environment again. It's been a while since Delta Center is at playoffs.
Yeah, it has been a bit. And we'll get to that later in the show. There may be another team housed there that is that's looking to maybe break that streak. But yeah, for the Mammoth, like I mean, we were both here when kind of the rumblings of Utah might be getting an NHL team started happening, and then it seemed like all at once. Bam. Okay, Utah has it.
Literally,
they're here.
It literally happened overnight.
Yeah, they're getting flown in. And it's like, wait, what?
Yeah.
What? I go to sleep for 8 hours and this happens? Really? Okay. But like, it's a good thing to have happen overnight all of a sudden. So it's really, really amazing. And with the like loss to St. Louis, like leading into the first playoffs, like, yeah, sure, you would want to see him win. You always want to see him win. You want to see him win 82 games in a year. The fact that it doesn't matter and like for the standings and that nobody got hurt, that's
true.
That's all I'm looking at. Like,
that is true.
If you could just forfeit that last game and make sure that no one gets hurt, I might be down for that because you want to be as healthy as possible going into the playoffs. You want all your guys because you want to be the best version of yourself.
I do think it is unfortunate that they do lose that last game. You would have want them to head into the Stanley Cup playoffs with the win, but overall, the positive is you don't lose anybody. Overall, the positive is that you now get to focus on Vegas. You get to focus now on a playoff game, and you move on to the Stanley Cup playoffs. And I think this Vegas matchup is interesting. And I was having this conversation with Lloyd Cole yesterday, and I think ultimately, because of the progress that you've seen with the Utah Mammoth, with missing out on the playoffs last year, they improve on their point total heading into this season. They obviously clinched that playoff spot. They get the wild card one. They're taking on Vegas, and so the year-to-year improvement is already there. You see it. I would like them. Whether they move on, whether they beat Vegas or not. I think this team should be proud of the accomplishment that they've achieved. Should be proud of the work that they've put in this season to make it to the Stanley Cup playoffs. And you hope that it's a very competitive series. I don't want to see a 4-1 where the Mammoth, miss out on moving up to the next round. But even if they don't move on, if they force a Game 7, if it's competitive up until the very last second, I think that's exactly what you want to see from the Utah Mammoth heading into, again, their first ever playoff.
Yeah, in any kind of like series, so the World Series, NBA Finals, or NBA playoffs, anything like that where you have a possibility of a Game 7, you always want to get to Game 7. Like, as much as we would love to, just sweep them 4-0.
Yeah, or you just sweep them.
Yeah, sweep them or Game 7. No in between. I don't want any of this fight.
Yeah.
Like 4.
I don't want to see a 4-1. Yeah.
4-1, 4-2 nonsense. No, none of that. We want either a full sweep by the Mammoth of Vegas or a Game 7, kind of either way, but obviously leaning where we want the Mammoth to win. One thing that I'm thinking of is, so something interesting about the way that the NHL schedule is set up, where you play, I believe, every team. Like, every team plays every team. That, in my mind, makes it a little bit harder to establish rivalries until you get into the playoffs.
Yes.
And I think this is a rivalry that, even though they are in different divisions, because of the geographical sort of proximity that you're in, I think this is a rivalry that the NHL really would love to see, because Vegas, the biggest entertainment town in the world, or at least it's trying to be, and then Utah, kind of the scrappy up and comers. Nobody really knows what we have to offer here, and I think those two going kind of head to head and like creating a rivalry for the ages, like to continue forward through the next 100 years of Utah Mammoth, 100 plus years of Utah Mammoth,
right?
Would be a really great addition to an already great season. Just start that off, like get the fire started there.
I do think you need rivalries if you're the Utah Mammoth. I know Utah Mammoth fans talk about Colorado, talk about Vegas, but this is a great opportunity to build that rivalry against Vegas.
You got to be competitive.
Yes,
with Colorado to be a rival
of
them.
Yes. I mean, they've played Colorado great at times. Other times, not so much.
But
they've had their moments against Colorado. They've had their moments. I I do think though that you're absolutely right. This is a perfect opportunity to build some type of rivalry with the Vegas Golden Knights, and it starts with what we hope and anticipate to be a phenomenal playoff series. With as far as the Mammoth goes, and as far as this series against Vegas goes, I guess I'm curious to hear and to figure out people's concerns about the experience, right? Because we've talked about it all season long. This is a young group. This is a group who necessarily hasn't been in this moment before. Obviously, Clayton Keller made it to the playoffs a couple years ago with the Coyotes, but the large majority of the core of this group hasn't been in this moment, right? Logan Cooley, Dylan Gunther. And so I'm curious how they treat the moment, not allowing it to get too big, right? Not allowing it to mess with the way that they play, right? To go into this series, obviously it is a playoff game, but treat it in a way where you don't let the moment get too big for you because of your lack of experience of not playing in a playoff series before.
Yeah, and I think that's where Bill Armstrong really that's going to be his ultimate flex is the roster construction. Like, you've got a bunch of young talent on here. And a young talent can take you far, but to really go all the way, you need veteran presence. And I think we have got that. We've got that with guys like, Mackenzie Weegar, who we brought in, who, isn't like super old, but you have like Nate Schmidt, you have Kevin Stenlund, you have, Veggie.
Yeah.
You got a bunch of these guys in here who are good and talented in their own right, but a large part of what they bring is that veteran experience of playing in big games and being able to kind of be extra coaches on the bench and like get these young guys back in the headspace that they need to be in to play the best version of their hockey, which is, as we've seen, good enough to make it to the playoffs. And if you believe in the talent that you have, it might be good enough to go all the way if they are in the right headspace.
Yeah. I'm also curious to see how the Mammoth face off against this Vegas Golden Knights, who since the firing of their head coach and making some changes to that coaching staff, they've been on a little bit of a roll. They've been on a little bit of a tear, and Vegas has been great to close off this season. Obviously, they win the Pacific Division, and I'm curious to see how the Mammoth handle that, despite the goalie situation being a little bit questionable for Vegas. They have Hill, they have Hart, who have been not necessarily the great as far as save percentages go, and it feels like you can't win a Stanley Cup with a team save percentage below 80. And so I'm curious to see how the Mammoth attack that, despite Vegas being pretty solid defensively, and how they match up as far as size goes. There are concerns and there are looks at this Mammoth being a little bit undersized, and so I'm curious to see how they'll match up with Vegas as well when it comes to that.
I think the size thing is interesting because you can kind of play around that a little bit in terms of like creating space, not being as physical necessarily, not trying to, you're not like 5'10", 5'11" Kyler Yamamoto trying to take down a 6'6" guy, a 6'6" defenseman or whatever. I mean, not to say that they can't, that like the smaller guys can't do that, but maybe that's not like the best way forward. So like, but where this Mammoth team thrives is on their speed and their puck handling and their skill, their shooting. So if you're able to kind of create a little bit more separation, maybe stay out of the reach of the big bullies, you give yourself a little better opportunity to show off the skills that you have and kind of make those shots that with the save percentage you have a pretty good analytically driven chance of them going in, and you winning 3-2. A win's a win.
Yeah, absolutely. One of the guys with playoff experience, plenty of playoff experience, Nate Schmidt. He met with the media yesterday after practice and sat down with media and talked about the Utah Mammoth taking on the Vegas Golden Knights. So here is Nate Schmidt, defenseman for the Utah Mammoth.
Welcome to the Stanley Cup playoffs this 2026 season. You've been here before. Last year you won. As someone who's been through this process, what are some of the details that someone wouldn't know about playing playoff hockey?
Oh, goodness. The game changes. Outside of just the stakes being higher, just the overall style of play, where goals are generated from, where opportunities, how important special teams are, and just being able, in my opinion, just the emotional roller coaster that is the playoffs. Score a goal, you're going to win the whole thing. Give one up, feel like you're going to lose the whole thing. But that's the exciting part about it. That's what makes it so fun. It's the reason why every year everyone always talks a little bit more about how awesome the Stanley Cup playoffs are. And this year we got new teams that have come in and experienced the first time. You see the Battle of Pennsylvania back. There's a lot of awesome headlines for this year that's going to make it unique and fun.
Being a veteran on this team, someone who has been through it, what have the conversations been like in the locker room, whether one-on-one with players, just general themes during games about staying calm? What have you and others discussed?
Well, some of those things are we'll see if they come to fruition here. I have spoken with guys that might not have as much experience with it, but sometimes being naive, ignorance is bliss in some of those situations. But I just said, listen, it's so much fun. Slow it down. Enjoy it. It goes by fast. And you never know when you're going to have another chance to be back here. So just try and soak it all in. That's kind of the message I've been into now. And whether you win game one or you lose game one, like, you got to have faith in what your game looks like. It's a long series. That's why we play 7.
You and John Marino have been together practically the whole season. You guys are one of the best shutdown pairs in the NHL. You've talked about your communication being so strong and that you love to talk with him and he talks back. But what about your skill sets being similar and your game style being similar allows you guys to read off each other so well, get the puck up ice quickly, and allows you to be so effective?
Well, I think one of the big ones is the familiarity in our game with each other. I know that the communication part we've spoken about that. I know that's a big part of it, and I would just I would say how much I trust in what he's doing. Right, John's a little bit of a unicorn of a player. The way he's got poise and way he handles the puck is very elite. And so for me, trying to find that extra open ice for him all the time, or just trying to be a little bit extra of a voice for him, because that's what makes me feel comfortable when I'm in that type of environment, when I'm getting open for him, when he's making his little plays. It just opens the game up so much more for me. And I always, like I said, I always have to start and end our conversations with talk. Otherwise, him and I aren't going to go anywhere.
Someone so familiar with Vegas, the environment, the fan base, those types of things. How do you guys prepare for that? How do you prepare for what the fans are going to bring down there, and just what that organization, the kind of the standard that organization has set? Yeah, you can't. I mean, it's just I played there in the playoffs, played for that team in the playoffs. It's a rowdy atmosphere. It's fun. It's exciting. I look at it as like a positive. It's so much fun to be a part of. You want that. I'd much rather it be definitely loud than incredibly quiet. So I think it's gonna be a fun game one. It'll be a lot of times the guys are gonna look around and the bench is gonna be rumbling, the music's gonna be playing, and warm ups, all the stuff that they got going on. It's a show. They do a great job, and like we said a little before, just slowing down the moment and understanding where you are, and we deserve to be here, and we're a good team. Things are gonna happen in the game that you don't like. Fans are going to get up and get rowdy, and you're going to have to be able to harness that emotion. But if you take it as if we can find a way to quiet them down, then that's a win for us. Someone who's gone the distance, last season won the Stanley Cup. What kind of potential do you see in this team going into their first playoff berth? I mean, we have a lot of youth, a lot of young legs, and one of the biggest things that I love about our team, we have a lot of experience on our back end, which I think is really important come to the postseason and being able to handle some of the matchups that you're going to have to play as you move forward, whether it's round 1 or round 4. Like, you're going to play against great teams, no matter how you look at it, great lines and guys that are feeling it, right? They wouldn't be in the lineup if they weren't, right? And so I love the idea that our guys are quick, they're fast, they're in this time of year for the first time. It's going to be the youthfulness is going to be something that I'm excited to see. And when you can put pressure on teams and continue to roll over them and roll onto them and get your puck in and let our speed kind of dictate the pace and how we want to play, it makes it hard. It's really hard to play against. And we've shown that this year when we want to do it and when we're good at doing it, it's tough to play against.
You know a lot of those guys on Vegas' squad. How do you guys defensively slow them down, that offense?
Well, they've been playing really well lately. I think that over the last 9 games, they've really climbed even higher in their goals for. But the playoffs is about the dirty areas. It's about the deflections. It's about taking away time and space when you can. But I like how I mentioned it before about our defense being pretty veteran and understanding where the space is on the rink, especially in the playoffs. I think that's going to be a big part of this series. It's I always like to take ownership of our D, and I think it's a huge part. And I always think that we're kind of a driving force to the game. If we can get our forwards the puck with space, they are going to be able to make some plays and make us look good, right? And vice versa. If we can eliminate their time through the neutral zone, because they got a lot of guys that like to carry it. A lot of guys that can make plays inside the zone if you allow them the time and space. So I think the series is going to be indicative of that. Who's going to be able to slow down the other team's speed?
How do you effectively, Vegas is a team that likes to hang on to the puck, kind of like what you were talking about. How do you effectively shrink the middle of the ice and make sure that they have a tough time when they're in that area? I
think just starting with the pressure up ice is not letting them kind of cycle back and get that motion through the neutral zone. That's a big one this time of year, is not allowing the free pass. Whether it's a change, someone's going to have to stay out, and you have to do the job. You got to sail even if you're dead tired. Making sure the goalie doesn't throw the puck up the ice and beat somebody on a change. Like, it's those little things that kind of opens the game up, especially for a team like that wants to get in, drive it deep, delay, hit some of their defensemen that come in the rush that like to kind of jump in that area. So it's going to be a series, in my opinion, that kind of revolves around that. If we can slow down that neutral zone, it'll make a big difference.
You've been in a lot of playoff series over your career. Starting a series on the road, how big is it to get a good start in a game one when it's on the road?
I want to say before last year, I would have told you it's incredibly important. You got to go try and steal one. And you look at it that way. Last year was something that kind of gave me a little bit new perspective of how a team kind of views themselves and how they want to approach games. I remember we came home after being down 2-0 to Toronto, and there was no panic in our team. It's like, listen, if we continue to play the way we want to play, we continue to play our game, things are going to turn for us. Things will start to happen, and that's what happened in that series. We won 4 of the next 5 games because we made it hard every single time. Teams might be able to do it for 1 or 2 games. Are you able to do it to beat us 4 times, right? And that's kind of the message that I like to kind of want to portray with our guys is that, listen, you're not going to go 16-0. That's not going to happen. I don't think it's ever happened. I'm not an NHL historian, but I'm pretty positive it's never happened. So you're going to lose games. You're going to make mistakes. And once you kind of go into the game knowing that that's going to happen, that you're going to make a mistake, I'm going to make a mistake, we're going to want to save back, they're going to want to save. Once you get over that fact, you realize it's a game that you've played your whole life and you should be able to have some fun with.
I think that last answer there from Nate Schmidt is so important. And a really great mindset for this team to have, right? The understand that you're not going to go in and you're not going to be able to sweep the entire series and make it to a Stanley Cup Finals, right? It's okay if you don't start the series as hot maybe as you want to, because at this point it feels like it's a little bit of it's a marathon, not a sprint, right? It's best of 4. There's going to be another game next, so don't beat yourselves up if things don't start off the way that you want them to. Don't beat yourself up if you end up taking a hard loss in game 1 or game 2 or whatever. It's not the most important thing to get to start off super super hot, because you don't want to fizzle out later on when it's crunch time. Love the mindset that Nate Schmidt is taking into this first ever Stanley Cup playoffs for the Utah Mammoth. and hopefully that the rest of the team is going in with a similar mindset of let's make this a fun series.
That's absolutely. And I want to say a couple things about Nate Schmidt. One, he's a great interview. He's just he just pops off, like he pops off the screen, pops off the mic. Like he's just got a great way about him. And I think linked to that, he is the kind of veteran that you want on your team of young guys, because he not only has he been through it, like a lot of guys have played in the Stanley Cup playoffs, but he has an approachability and a wisdom about him that I think lends itself well to younger guys who are maybe they're struggling after a game 1 loss. He's the kind of guy that you want to go up to and be like, "Hey, Nate, how, like, you've been through this, how did you do this?" And he will dispense that wisdom in a really approachable and kind of kind way.
To your point, man, it feels like right now the Mammoth have a really good mix of young guys who can grow up to become stars, mixed with guys who have been in these situations before, been in these moments before, and they have a good mix of the vets, and they have a good mix of the young. And so I think that's what makes this Mammoth team so fun, and what makes this Mammoth team so special. And I'm excited to see them take the ice when they take on the Golden Knights. As far as the rest of the NHL playoffs and the rest of the NHL Stanley Cup bracket goes, the Avs facing off against the Kings, the Stars taking on the Wild, the Oilers taking on the Ducks. Those are the matchups in the Western Conference. In the Eastern Conference, you have the Sabres taking on the Bruins, the Lightning taking on the Canadiens, the Hurricanes taking on the Senators, and then the Penguins taking on the Flyers. I have a hard time seeing anybody else other than the Avalanche making out of the Western Conference.
Yeah, I mean, their President's Trophy, most points, have looked like it all season. Like, this isn't a fluke. It's not wrong to go chalk. Like, as much as things like March Madness have taught us, maybe we don't want to go.
True.
Maybe we want to see the Cinderella, and we
Give us the upsets.
We do want to see that. If I'm a betting man, which I'm not, I'd probably be taking the Avalanche. Like, that's safe.
In the Eastern Conference, I think I love the story of the Sabres, but I think the Lightning have a good shot of making it out of the Eastern Conference.
That's an interesting one. Yeah, I would probably go chalk here as well with the Sabres, but I like the idea of the Lightning, at the very least making it a contest. If Sabres end up beating the Bruins, sorry, Sean, just for this for this hypothetical. In that case, if the Sabres and the Lightning play, that is going to be a must-watch series.
Absolutely. Sean, who makes it to the Stanley Cup Finals?
I'm having a tough time with Carolina. I think is so good, but they tend to choke when it comes to the playoffs, and so I have a tough time picking against them. But at the same time, it's fun to watch them lose. So I am with you. I think the Lightning, mostly because of the inexperience of that top, the Sabres.
Top side of the bracket. Yeah, it feels like the Lightning are primed to make it to that Stanley Cup final, and then out of the Eastern Conference, and then of course I would just have a hard time seeing the Avalanche falling before a Western Conference finals, and even again making it to the Stanley Cup finals. So we'll see. I'm very excited for the Stanley Cup playoffs to get going. They all starting up today. First game of the day coming up with Carolina and Ottawa at 1 p.m. local. The Mammoth taking on the Golden Knights tomorrow, 8 p.m., and I think the entire state of Utah will be tuning in and watching. We got to take a break here on the Saturday Show. When we come back, we'll dive into some college basketball. It's been a big news as far as, again, the transfer portal goes. Rob Wright returns to BYU, and Alex Jensen landing some transfers to come into Utah as the rebuild for the Utah program continues. More on the other side when we return here on the Saturday Show, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
This is Jake Scott and Ben Anderson.
I told you we went to this country writers thing in Nashville where you saw these different people that write hits. But mixed in the middle was this old timer. He sang a song about his dog dying. I'm not kidding. Like, there were people going, play a happy song, like yelling at this guy.
Be happy.
Be happy. Guy played like 3 songs and everybody was like, oh, I'm so depressed. Yeah. You know what? Read the room.
Yeah, right.
By the way, and he said before he sang the dog dying song, he's like, nobody's picked this one up. I can't figure it out. I can. The song was called For Pete's Sake, and the dog was named Pete.
It's a little on the nose.
I'm just coming to this theater to rock out on some country I barely like, and they got to sing about a dog dying.
Dying dog, for Pete's sake.
Oh, it's so bad. So bad, dude.
Hear Jake Scott and Ben Anderson every day from 10 to noon on 97.5 The KSL Sports Zone.
In Utah, over 200,000 families have trusted RGS Exteriors with their homes, and there's a reason for that. Our family's business has been serving Utah homeowners for 5 generations. In fact, there's no exterior company in Utah with a longer history, not even close. That kind of reputation doesn't happen by accident. It happens year after year, award after award, referral after referral, and home after home. At RGS Exteriors, we specialize in siding, windows, gutters, and decking that protect and transform your home.
Hi, Tim Brown here, RGS Exteriors. My family has been building and improving homes in Utah for 5 generations, and taking care of homeowners is something we take very serious. With over 1,300 5-star Google reviews, 21 Best of State awards, and our 10-year workmanship warranty, homeowners know they can trust RGS. Over 200,000 families across Utah have trusted RGS Exteriors with their home, and so can you. Schedule your free estimate today at 801-280-3110, 801-280-3110.
Utah, you know sports, and nobody connects with fans like the KSL Sports Zone. Every day, our loyal listeners tune in for the latest on the Jazz and the Mammoth, Utes, Cougars, and Aggies, high school sports, all of it live and local. If you're a business owner looking to grow, this is your audience. Engaged, passionate, ready to respond. And when you combine the power of the zone with digital tools like social, display, streaming audio, geo-targeting, and retargeting, you get a smart, full-funnel strategy built for any budget. Tap into the energy of Utah sports fans and drive real results. Learn more at kslsports.com/advertise.
Doug Wright here with Monty at Connecticut Quality Water Systems of Salt Lake, an authorized independent dealer. Monty, give it to me straight. Why is Connecticut the premium choice over those standard electric softeners?
Doug, it comes down to this. Do you want an appliance you have to babysit? Standard water softeners have microprocessors and computers that need setting and adjustment, and they use a lot more salt. So you get to haul 40-pound bags of salt down to your basement every month or so.
And Connecticut?
Zero electricity, 0 timers to reset, 0 downtime, and uses 70% less salt. It's a higher standard of engineering that completely removes the hassle of owning a water softener.
That's what I love about my Connecticut. Dee and I never have to even think about it. We occasionally add a bag of salt and it just works, and I've never had to set or adjust anything. Do what I did and get the one that just works. Find out how soft your water could be at softwaterutah.com. That's softwaterutah.com.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack, but not with ZipRecruiter. Its powerful technology actively finds and invites qualified candidates to apply to your job. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
ZipRecruiter. Ryan Reynolds here from Mint Mobile. I don't know if you knew this, but anyone can get the same premium wireless for $15 a month plan that I've been enjoying. It's not just for celebrities. So do like I did and have one of your assistants switch you to Mint Mobile today.
Visit mintmobile.com/radio. Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month plan, equivalent to $15 per month required. Intro rate first 3 months only, then full price plan options available. Taxes and fees extra. See full terms at mintmobile.com.
Want to get the latest info on Utah's newest sports franchise?
Sign up for the Utah Mammoth newsletter.
Get exclusive analysis.
Plus the latest news and notes on the Utah Mammoth.
Sign up today at kslsports.com
for the Utah Mammoth newsletter.
Hey, this is Chris with JCW's. Craving something sweet? We do ice cream right. Come in and try one of our shakes, freezes, or an ice cream cone, and you'll see why we say JCW's, quality and a lot of it.
It's the time of the season when love runs high.
Welcome back to the Saturday Show, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Thank you for making us a part of your Saturday morning. I'm Alex Napoles. That's Parker Long as we take you through the week of sports here in the state of Utah. The transfer portal remains open until April 21st. As far as the hoops side of things goes, BYU and Utah making some making some great moves, I think, this week. And we'll start with Utah. We'll start up on the hill and talk about Alex Jensen and what his crew's doing. The latest coming out, they have the transfer from UVU and Jackson Holcomb coming over, and then Taysom Chapman also committing to the University of Utah. And it feels like this is such a pivotal offseason for Alex Jensen and that men's basketball program, because my question remains, coming into year 2 now of Alex Jensen, is how long is the leash for Alex Jensen? What I mean by that is, obviously, it's a big rebuilding moment for Utah basketball. We know where they were at this past season. At times, the team really struggled. They did show some signs of improvement, but it feels like a majority of those guys have now jumped into the portal and have moved on. And I'm curious, how long is the leash of Alex Jensen? How long does he get to get this program off the ground up and running?
That's the question for any new coach.
You can't. Right. It's a new coach. He's rebuilding the program. He's rebuilding the culture up there for the men's basketball program. But at some point, winning 2 conference game isn't going to cut it.
No, not even close. And I think the leash it might be just a little bit longer because of Alex Jensen's history here. Mm-hmm. If you bring in a new guy that has no ties, that wasn't part of your program before, hasn't been around the state, maybe you don't have that kind of personal connection to him, and you're like, okay, well, things aren't working out here. We're just going to part ways and see how things go. I think Alex Jensen, he ended up inheriting a lot of stuff from the previous regime. And like you said, this is a pivotal offseason for him building Alex Jensen running Utes basketball. Yeah. Like you could kind of tell there was a sort of chemistry missing last year, and I think that's probably what they're going to prioritize. Is like not just the utmost skill, because you're quite frankly, you're not going to get the AJ DeBonces of the world.
Right.
You're not going to get the Cam Boozers, like the highest profile guys. What you're looking for is a bunch of guys who are really good, who end up working well together and can play the style that you want. And I think that is probably the outlook that Alex Jensen and his staff have. Like, hey, let's get these guys. Yeah, they're not the highest profile. They're not, maybe the highest ceiling, but they're the guys that we want, and they're going to play well in my system with this culture and here in this place, and we're going to turn this around our way.
Yeah. I think Utah fans give Alex Jensen the pass, of course, for the year 1. Him getting hired at the time that he did. Weird timing for him to come in and completely rebuild the team. Did the best he could with the time he had, and it ended up with 2 conference wins. And it doesn't make it easier that you're in the Big 12, one of the best basketball conferences in the entire country. It doesn't make it easier that you have to play the Arizonas, you have to play the Iowa States, you have to play the Texas Techs, and everybody else who was good in the Big 12 this past season. It's a mountain to climb. It's a big mountain to climb, and it's very important for Alex Jensen to hit on transfers, to hit on recruits coming into this season. And I'm curious to see how this Utah team looks with now Jackson Holcomb coming in, who was one of the catalysts of that UVU team. UVU, who was so close to making the tournament this season, ended up missing out on the NCAA tournament with a heartbreaker there at the end against, I believe it was Cal Baptist, if I remember right. 16 points, 7 rebounds, 3 assists, and a 53 field goal percentage for Jackson Holcomb at UVU. I'm excited for this one. I'm excited for this transfer, and I'm excited to see what he brings to that Utah team. Taysom Chapman, the sophomore out of Ohio State, not as much playing time, not as much of a focal point as Holcomb was for UVU. He's only averaging 4 points per game, a rebound a game, and a 46% field goal percentage. So I'm curious to see what his role will be with Utah this next season. But again, Alex Jensen has a really important summer ahead of him.
Yeah, it's you kind of wonder, and like I assume this isn't the end of what we're going to see, because I mean, we're going to have there's still time. There's still plenty of time before the basketball season starts. Like I said, you got to build a roster with the guys that you want, and you got to find those sort of like those kind of intangibles, like the high character, the good chemistry, good teammate, and then also just like those little talents that guys have and like really lean into them. I think of Isaiah Collier from the Jazz. He isn't what you would call like an all-star, dominate the game kind of point guard, but his talent is to find passing lanes where there are none.
Yeah.
And like that is just one example of a trait that you can utilize when you see it that can give you an advantage over other teams, which, I'm not in that room. I don't see these guys, but I have to assume that there is something to build off of here, that they have this that they have these abilities that they can kind of leverage and build around.
A week ago, we were sitting here, Parker, and we were talking about everything happening down in Provo. And I think at the time that we were here last week, it seemed I said not to worry at BYU fans because there was still time to bring in transfers. There was still time to construct this roster, and there was still time to get things going. Sure enough, they take the week to get things going in the right direction, and massive pickup with Colin Chandler coming over from Kentucky. They pick up Tyler Betsy from Syracuse. They pick up Jake Wallen, former former Timpview man, and then now back after spending some time at Clemson, now back with BYU. And more importantly, too, and I think just as important as picking up those three out of the transfer portal, you get Robert Wright to come back. You get Rob Wright, who decides to jump out of the portal, decides to stay with this BYU team, and I think that's a big piece of what's going to make BYU successful this past season. And him coming back, I think, is big for BYU. Oh, yeah.
Oh, definitely. I think the funniest thing about Rob Wright going into a transfer portal, he's going to transfer to Kentucky.
Yeah, the rumors are swirling.
He goes, he goes to Kentucky.
Yeah.
He gets the offer from them, and he's like, no, I think I got it really good in Provo. Like, I don't know why I would leave if the money's comparable. And then, this probably didn't happen, but on his way out, he's still like, hey, Colin, do you want to come with me? Like, come on, let's go back to Provo. Let's put on a different blue and white. Like,
yeah, absolutely.
It'll be great. You'll love it.
I think I don't blame Rob Wright, and I don't fault him for going into the transfer portal and seeing what the value is out there for a guy like him and seeing what the worth is out there for a guy like him, and him trying to capitalize on his NIL. Whatever the number was at Kentucky, it worked out in BYU's favor as he decides to come back. And I think now with the transfers that you're bringing in, with Rob Wright being able to come back, with some of these recruits that are coming in for BYU, specifically a guy like Bruce Branch III, it seems like the roster construction for BYU basketball is in a much better spot than it was, again, where we were a week ago. And that's why it felt like it wasn't time to hit the panic button yet for BYU fans. It wasn't time to necessarily freak out over everybody jumping into the portal. The reality is most of the guys that jumped in the portal, except maybe a guy like Robert Wright, those guys underperformed. And we talked about it a little bit last week where the bench scoring was for BYU went from being one of the best in the country to in first year under Kevin Young to one of the worst in second year of Kevin Young. And so it seems like lessons have been learned by the coaching staff down there in Provo, and the roster construction seems to be in a better spot again than it was a week ago for BYU.
I would absolutely agree. And one of the good things about the transfer portal is that it is a process. It is not, okay, guy enters, he's gone. It's guy enters, he can kind of explore his options, see what's out there, kind of use it as leverage to get a little bit more money.
Yeah.
And, that works out. BYU is, happy to pay a guy of his caliber. You saw he was one of the three guys. Like, he was one of the guys last year. And without Richie Saunders, it was him and AJ DeBonsa, and you saw that kind of fall off. So, the bench didn't perform. I think BYU has kind of learned its lesson in roster construction, where they are prioritizing depth. And again, you are getting a guy like Bruce Branch, who is really highly touted, top 10 prospect in the nation, a guy that can come in and be an immediate go-to guy, your big primary scoring threat. He's big, he's long, he's agile, he's got everything.
I'm curious to see what the what their big three this upcoming season is going to be, because obviously last season it was Rob Wright, AJ, and Richie Saunders, and then this season I've already seen a lot of tweets and a lot of people poking fun at Colin Chandler being Richie 2.0.
Look, if you're going to be Richie 2.0,
that's not a bad thing.
No, that's a good thing to be.
That's a great place to be in for.
I do
Chandler.
wonder if he's Richie 2.0. Does he have a connection to hash browns, or does he have
tater tots?
No. Richie has the connection to tater tots. He's the tater tot king.
Yes. Yes.
But does Colin Chandler have a connection to the hash brown patties?
I get you.
Or maybe Dino Nuggets.
I don't know. We'll find out.
Maybe he's the Dino Nugget heir. We'll find out. I think if you're BYU, you don't want a big three. You want a medium large 6.
You know what? That's a good way to look at it. That's because that's the issue of, I think, why BYU missed the mark this past season, is because they relied too heavily on the big three. And that's not to take anything away from AJ. That's not to take anything away from Richie and from Rob Wright, who, again, I thought had terrific seasons. But outside of the big three is where they really struggled. So that's a great way to look at it. It's not just about your big three. It's not just about having and the reality is, when you have a big three like that, it can change teams. And it can change the outlook of how far a BYU team can make it in the tournament. But the issue, again, was with the roster construction and the depth. And so I think that's a phenomenal way to look at it. Maybe it's not a big three, but you need 5 or 6 guys who can come in and really be the driving force of this BYU basketball team next season.
Yeah, I mean, you really just have to look at championship caliber teams from the NCAA, from the NBA. I mean, look at OKC. Look at the Thunder. They have got probably 8 or 10 guys that are starters, can be starters, and that's why they are the reigning NBA champions and the favorite to repeat. You need that depth because guys can't play all 40 minutes.
Yeah.
Or they shouldn't, rather. They can, sure, but it's not a good idea, and you need guys with different skill sets to be able to come in and slot in as you need to be able to adapt to what's going on, the opponent you're playing, all that kind of stuff. So I like BYU's outlook. I think we were excited about it last year because, I mean, AJ DeBonsa, how can you not be excited about him? Dude's electric. He's super exciting.
Absolutely.
Bruce Branch, also super exciting, but the cast surrounding him, also pretty exciting.
Yes. That's a great way to look at it. It's not just about the big three. It is about your depth. It is about having guys who can come in and make differences even when your big three isn't firing on all cylinders. And that was a big issue. That, again, was a big issue for BYU this past season. So love what BYU is doing in the transfer portal. We'll continue to see how that takes shape as the end of the portal is coming up here on April 21st. For Utah State and Ben Jacobson up there in Logan, the work continues to build a Utah State team in year 1 of the Pac-12. Recent reports coming out on Twitter this morning saying AJ Bates, a point guard out of Louisiana Tech, has committed to the Aggies, and then you have Jax Allen, point guard out of Orem High School, who is going to the Aggies as well. Bummer to see Adlin Elamine committing to Cincinnati, but he follows Jared Calhoun, and he'll now be in the Big 12.
Yep. I mean, you could see it coming a mile away, potentially. I mean, you wanted Elamine to stay because he was great last year. He had a lot of upside, a lot of potential. I get why he's leaving, though. Like, I wish him the best of luck. Same with Coach Calhoun. It's sad to see, but it happens. It's part of the game, and you kind of move on. And you just kind of replace as best you can.
I'm excited to see how Calhoun does in Cincinnati and how he fares in the Big 12. I am excited to see how Adlin Elamine takes on over there in Cincinnati, but I'm more excited to see how the Aggies take on year 1 of Pac-12 basketball. Utah State and the Pac-12.
Sounds weird.
Still taking time to get used to a little bit. We got to take a break. On the other side, we'll jump into technical fouls, the funnier, sillier stories of the week. We'll break those down coming up next here on this Saturday show. It is 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
This is DJ and PK.
Here we go again.
Joined once again by the radio voice of the Utah Jazz, David Locke.
I'm super frustrated with Adam Silver because he just blows in the wind and acquiesces to all the blowhard media talk show host people like us. Like, I've never heard anyone listen to us more. Yes, we have a tanking problem, but Adam Silver's complete lack of a backbone, changing the narrative of what's positive about this league, is a huge part of this problem right now, in my opinion. He should have gotten up on that press conference and said, we've had 7 different champions in 7 years. Detroit 2 years ago won 25 games. They're now number 1 in the East. Oklahoma City went through it 3 years ago, and they've won a title. We are the only sport in the world where you can really turn your favors in a span of 24 months. He's done this 3 years in a row where he just blows in the wind to everyone's complaints. TV ratings, 65-game rule. What a stupid freaking rule.
I thought the answer, my friend, was blowing in the wind.
Thank you, Bob.
The answer is blowing in the wind.
Catch DJ and PK mornings from 6 to 10 on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
If you don't care about saving 50% off your wireless bill for the same 5G coverage the big guys are charging a fortune for, maybe you care about keeping jobs in America. Pure Talk does. They've pledged to run their entire operation from this country, including all their customer service. Or maybe you care about our nation's veterans. Pure Talk does. They've donated hundreds of thousands of dollars to America's Warrior Partnership, a fantastic organization working hard to prevent veteran suicide. Or maybe you care about closing America's skills gap. Pure Talk does. They're a proud supporter of MicroWorks. They're helping my foundation train the next generation of skilled workers. Don't get me wrong. Saving money's great, and you'll save plenty with Pure Talk. But if you want to be in business with people who share your values, dial pound 250, say micro, and switch to an American wireless company that actually stands for something. Pure Talk.
97.5, the KSL Sports Zone is your radio home for live local sports. Saturday night, Real Salt Lake tries to continue its hot start at home against San Diego. Pregame show starts at 6:30. The game kicks off at 7:30 on 97.5 FM. Meanwhile, the Salt Lake Bees host the Sugarland Space Cowboys. That game starts at 6:35 on 1280 The Zone. If you want to introduce your company to Utah sports fans and have your company's name mentioned right here, email Stephanie Palmer at spalmer@ksl.com and join the winning team at KSL Sports.
Spring is calling, and we're not sending it to voicemail. I bet you're thinking about heading south this spring, but what if you tried something different, like Cedar City and Bryan had? With gas prices going up, this is the kind of trip that gives you more vacation for the tank you're already on. Start with Three Peaks OHV trails that say, go ahead, take the scenic route, then cool it down with disc golf. Because yes, you can be competitive and outdoorsy at the same time. Next, Thor's Hideout. Legendary hike, epic payoff. And if you want the kind of ride you'll talk about all week, hit the Iron Hills Trail System, now an official recreation trail. Just need to chill? Frontier Homestead Park, Cedar City Veterans Park, or play around at Cedar City Golf Course. Then finish strong with local dining, shopping, and small town charm in the historic downtown of Cedar City and Parowan. Spring is calling. Answer it with a one-tank getaway at visitcedarcity.com.
Okay. I've got to tell you about something that honestly surprised me. I went down to Peach Doors and Windows to check out their showroom, and these are not your big box store doors. We're talking solid core, reinforced, high-security doors that look like they belong on $1 million home. And here's what hit me. Most break-ins don't happen through windows. They happen through the front door. And a lot of doors, they're basically decorative cardboard with a handle. Peach installs doors that are built to take a beating. Heavy-duty hardware, reinforced frames, real security, but they still look absolutely stunning. Whether you're building $1 million home or you just want yours to look like one, your front door is the first impression and the first line of defense. Do yourself a favor. Go see their showroom. Feel the difference. Visit peachdoorsandwindows.com or stop by their showroom today. Upgrade the door. Upgrade the home. Simple as that.
Are you due for something that actually tastes as good as the service feels? Ruth's Chris Steakhouse is your place. The perfect occasion for all occasions. Great food, ambiance, service. Ruth's Chris Steakhouse, downtown Salt Lake City and Hotel Park City.
Listen every morning to DJ and PK and Monday afternoon with Jake and Ben for your Chevy Strong Play of the Game. Win great prizes from Rocky Mountain Chevy.
If you're coming from the street with dirty shoes on your feet, that's a technical foul. If you switch the radio to some modern music show, that's a technical foul. If you touch the thermostat,
you'll get hit with a bat.
'Cause that's a technical foul.
You will feel my wrath.
That's a technical foul.
Personal foul, 69, offense. He was giving them the business.
A technical foul.
Welcome back to the Saturday Show, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Alex Napoles and Parker Long taking you through this beautiful Saturday morning as we jump into our technical foul segment. And we'll start with probably the one that affected, I think, the most people in the around the globe, around the nation this past week. And it, of course, has to do with the Heat and Hornets playoff game. Everybody, I think, was tuning in and watching. First of all, I'll give credit to the NBA. We'll start there. I'll give credit to the NBA because the play-in tournament has been fun. We'll dive more into it, but you can tell the basketball is different when there's something on the line, when there's qualification to the actual playoffs on the line, and so the the play-in tournament has been fun for the NBA. But as the Hornets and the Heat go into overtime, the last minute of overtime, it's crunch time. And Amazon Prime's video streaming service, which is, of course, the first ever NBA playoff game that they are streaming and they're putting out there, goes black for just about everybody who's watching the game.
Not a good look.
No, horrible, horrible look. It is a do-or-die situation for the Heat and the Hornets. There's 48 seconds left on the clock. I think at this point the Hornets are up by... I want to say it was 2, if I remember right. But it's do-or-die situation, and you miss out on the rest of the game because the Amazon Prime broadcast cuts out.
We did, so we only missed out on one play, actually. So I was here watching that game, and it was.
You got it back?
Yeah, no, we got it back, yeah.
I didn't get it back.
It was crazy. Yeah, so we got it back.
It just stayed black for me.
Yeah,
I couldn't finish the game.
Yeah, it was me and our producer, Bean. We were here, and we were watching, and we both kind of started screaming when it's 48 seconds left. You got, like, everything on the line, and we're sitting there like, wait, what? What's happening? And then, you miss a LaMelo Ball layup. The lead goes to 5, and we ended up getting back the last 30 seconds or so of the game, which was awesome. That game was incredible. I'm sorry that you didn't get to see the last of it.
I'm so bummed I missed out. That hurts. That hurts me even more now. So technical foul on Amazon Prime. They issued a statement, they apologized and whatever, but they missed out on, they sent it to technical difficulties in one of the most important moments of the NBA season, which came in the first game of the NBA play-in tournament. Parker, what's going on with this former Alabama player?
Oh, okay. You're going to like this one. So early 2024, a national championship with the Alabama Crimson Tide, defensive tackle Luther Davis. This feels like a plot out of a sitcom or a bad comedy movie from the 90s.
I think I've seen movies that that kind of go like this.
Basically, what happens is Davis he tricked a bunch of investors, a bunch of gullible investors, into giving him loans for millions of dollars. And the way he did this was to put on disguises, present fake IDs using pictures that were publicly available of current NFL players to impersonate them and con these investors out of money to buy real estate, jewelry, cars, all kinds of stuff. Now, Alex, I have a question for you. If someone called you wearing effectively a false mustache and said in an unconvincing accent that I am X person, would you give them all of your money?
No, absolutely not. I would probably need to see more proof that they are who they claim to be.
And would you...
That seems like that would be the smart, logical thing to do.
Would you want to meet this person in person if you are...
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, to maybe see, if you're dealing with millions of dollars, $4 million here, you would maybe want to see, is this person real? Is this who I think I'm dealing with? Because you're not giving someone $20.
Right.
Like, you give someone $20, you get conned out of that, not a big deal. You're a little bummed.
$20 million in loans according to the federal court records. This guy didn't just scam out, a couple $100,000. It was $20 million
from at least 13 different loans, which means that this worked on 13 different people.
That's crazy.
Like this.
That's crazy.
This Pink Panther level disguise. This Steve Martin Pink Panther level disguise. Yeah. Not even Peter Sellers. Like this Steve Martin Pink Panther level disguise worked on 13 people with more money than sense.
Yeah. The court documents say that the identities that were used by Luther Davis was impersonating quarterback for the Atlanta Falcons, Michael Penix Jr., former Browns tight end David Njoku, and Green Bay Packers safety Xavier McKinney, in order to get these loans.
So we have a picture of him. We have a picture of Davis.
Yeah.
Up here. Does he look like any of those guys?
No.
Like,
no, not at all.
Especially, like, what gets me is Njoku. Because Njoku's got, like,
he's got hair.
He's got hair. Not only does he have hair, he has, like, the two-tone hair.
Jeez.
Where he's got, like, the blonde and the dark. Did he put on that wig?
He must have.
Like.
He must have.
It's baffling to me.
$20 million, man.
I'll tell you.
That's insane.
I'll tell you guys right now. If these guys wanted to give me that money, like, I'm not going to trick them. I'm just going to ask them because apparently that might work. Just like, hey, guys, can I just, like, have...
Parker's applying for a loan.
20 million. No, not a loan. Not a loan.
No,
like,
sorry.
I'm not paying this back. They're giving me money because apparently they're just willing to give it away to anybody. So...
Sean, what's going on with Jackson Smith and Jigba, man?
So his senior season... final season, I should say, at Ohio State. He only played in 3 games due to hamstring injuries. He gets to the Seahawks. They find out he's wearing size 12 shoes. They scanned his foot. He's actually a size 10.5. So he's been dealing with all these hamstring injuries just because Ohio State wanted him to be in a size 12. I don't know who's letting him wear a size 12 when he's a 10.5.
Was it him who decided to wear size 12? And even if it was him, like, when you think of Ohio State, they probably have a really, really good, like, medical staff. They probably have really good equipment managers and really good people around the facility. And, like, you think that at some point somebody would have been like, hey, man, you're not a size 12.
Yeah, like, let me check that toe in that foot or in that shoe, in that cleat. Where does your toe go to? Come on. That's basics.
10.5, like, and then 12 and 10.5 is a pretty big difference.
Yeah,
exactly.
There's a pretty noticeable difference, and so Jackson Smith and Jigba now wearing a 10.5 and probably isn't going to get injured as much.
What a difference a shoe adjustment makes. You go from playing in 3 games in your senior season in college to the highest paid wide receiver in the NFL by changing your shoes.
Just by going 2.5 sizes lower.
1.5.
Oh, I'm sorry. 1.5.
We say don't do math on the air, but
the Utah Jazz, the season is over. What did we learn about these players? What did we learn about Will Hardy? What did Austin Ainge and Will Hardy have to say about some of the guys that are going to be free agents this upcoming offseason? And we'll take a look to see how we ultimately grade this Utah Jazz season. On the other side, we got to take a break. When we return, don't go anywhere. It's 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Whether you're stuck in the office,
I believe you have my stapler,
in your car, or at your in-laws.
You want a piece of me? You bet I do.
The Zone is with you every step of the way. Download the KSL Sports app to get live streaming of your favorite shows and access to all the latest updates on your favorite teams. Your home for the best coverage of the Utes, Cougars, Jazz, and Mammoth is on air, online, and on the KSL Sports app. This is 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
I move mountains for a living. Literally. That means I don't carry hand lotion, and when it comes to serious heartburn, I don't mess around with anything but Rolaids. Rolaids' dual active formula has calcium carbonate and magnesium hydroxide that relieves heartburn fast. Yeah, you heard right. 2 actives for that powerful relief. And the best part? The roll fits right here in my pocket, so I can get back to moving mountains.
Rolade spells powerful relief. Reach label. Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
I'm Ed Evans, CEO of Consumer Cellular. You know, the big wireless companies say they have discounts for people over 55. But unless you're willing to sit on hold and ask, you're probably paying more than you should. At Consumer Cellular, there's nothing to hunt down. We're built for people 50 plus with plans starting at just $20. And our 100% US-based customer service actually answers the phone. Call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com today and get your second month free for a limited time.
Taxes, fees, and other third-party charges will apply. See website for additional details.
You can't always predict what's next, but you can be ready for it in a BMW SUV. The X1 delivers on confident agility and a striking presence that stands out in a crowd. Or you can own the road in the versatile X3 with advanced driving technology like BMW Connected Drive and sporty design cues. The X5 blends performance and elegance with functionality and a commanding presence. And when only the biggest will do, the X7 steps things up with precision-crafted finishes and 3 rows of luxurious seating so there's always space even for the biggest plans. Every model is engineered with BMW's intelligent all-wheel drive to give you the confidence in any driving condition. So while you can't always predict what's coming, for every road there's an X built to drive it. BMW, the ultimate driving machine.
Discover your dream vehicle at BMW of Murray or BMW of Pleasant Grove. BMW Utah. Drive elevated.
I'm here with Monty from Connecticut Quality Water Systems of Salt Lake, an authorized independent dealer. So, Monty, I wonder if you know someone like this. He's the ultimate DIY guy. Restores classic cars, builds his own deck, and even smokes his own brisket.
Sounds like a talented guy.
He is, but get this, his other weekend hobby is troubleshooting his water softener. He's always down there resetting the timer or fiddling with the circuit board.
See, Doug, that's where I draw the line. Smoking a brisket is a great weekend project.
Yeah.
Fixing an electric water softener is just a chore.
Exactly. He thinks he's saved money by buying the bargain brand, but he's paying for it with his Saturdays.
That's the Connecticut difference. Our systems are premium because they are non-electric and fully automated. No computers to fry, no timers to reset. We install it and you get back to the hobbies you actually enjoy.
If you want soft water, do what I did and leave that to Connecticut. It runs on water power, not willpower. Learn more at softwaterutah.com. That's softwaterutah.com.
Is your financial advisor managing your risk or just a spreadsheet? Hi, I'm Jeff Jr., founder of Trajan Wealth. Many financial advisors rely on target date funds, which are one-size-fits-all portfolios that don't know your name, your family, or your goals. And that passive management can leave you dangerously exposed. At Trajan, we look at the whole picture, not just the stocks everyone else buys, but the private market opportunities most advisors ignore. And as fiduciaries, we build a strategy around you, coordinating your investments, tax strategy, and estate into one cohesive plan. Your financial life deserves more than just a generic portfolio. Real planning isn't a stack of statements. It's the confidence of knowing where your income will come from for the next 30 years. Good enough isn't good enough for your family. It's time for a change. Schedule your complimentary consultation today.
Call Trajan today at 801-210-6800. That's 801-210-6800.
Advisory services through Trajan Wealth, LLC, an SEC registered investment advisor. Private equity investments require accreditation. Other services through Trajan Estate and Trajan Tax. Additional disclosures at TrajanWealth.com.
Hey, this is Chris with JCW's. Not filling a burger? We've got you covered. Try one of our hot ribeye, turkey, or BLT sandwiches, and you'll understand why we say JCW's, quality, and a lot of it.
97.5 KZNS FM Colville, 1280 KZNS AM Salt Lake City, and KSL FM HD2 Salt Lake City Midvale. This is 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Welcome back to the Saturday Show, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Alex Napoles and Parker Long taking you through your Saturday morning as we switch gears a little bit here and focus on the Utah Jazz. The NBA season for the Utah Jazz has come to an end. You hope that next year the Utah Jazz are pushing for the playoffs. You hope that the next year the Utah Jazz are focused now on winning basketball games. And I did find it interesting that in all the postseason media availabilities, when people straight up ask Will Hardy, people straight up ask Austin Ainge, right? Is this team's expectation to make the playoffs? They shied away from it a little bit and said, "We'll wait and see. We'll wait and see, but we like what we got going on."
Yeah, I mean, you don't want to
tempering expectations.
Yeah, temper expectations. Under promise and over deliver. Don't over promise and under deliver. Don't do that.
Love it. Love it. Great way to approach the offseason, because it is a super important offseason here for the Utah Jazz, as they have some really important decisions to make. What happens to some of the veterans on this team, like Yusuf Nurkic, who I thought had an impressive season before he ended up sitting out the rest of the season with a nose injury? What's going to happen with Kevin Love? What's going to happen to, I think, the biggest thing that they need to figure out real quick, even before, even more so than the draft, I should say, Walker Kessler, and what's going to happen to Walker Kessler and his extension and where they're at with the Utah Jazz. But I think ultimately it's a successful season for the Utah Jazz in the sense that I think we learned a lot about the young guys, and we learned a lot about which players can find a spot in the NBA and which players can potentially come in and make a difference for this Utah Jazz team.
Yeah, success is all about how you define it.
Yes.
And I think for the Jazz and for any team in a similar position to them, this season it obviously wasn't about winning. It was about seeing what you have so that you can win next year. And I think we saw a lot. It is going to hinge on a few things, like you said, Walker Kessler. Without Walker Kessler, if say hypothetically he is not part of the Jazz next year, what do you do? What do you do at center? Because he should be your starting center. He's the guy. He's been around the whole time, even though he didn't technically get drafted here. Thank you, NBA, for making that even more confusing. But he's been around the whole time. He's a guy that you have a lot of faith in. You're kind of putting all your eggs in the Walker Kessler basket.
Yes.
There at center.
Yes.
Re-signing Nurk is good. He's a backup. He's a backup center, and he's a good one. I think he's a good guy to have.
I think he'd be phenomenal coming off the bench.
He should not be your starting center. So try and take care of Walker. And if Walker cannot be taken care of, you gotta move quick, and you gotta move decisively, and you gotta find someone that's really, really good.
Yeah, and it sounds like as far as what we've heard from the off season, at the end of season media availabilities, I should say, from the Utah Jazz, from guys like Will Hardy and guys like Austin Ainge, is that conversations are being had with Walker Kessler, and conversations about Walker Kessler and Jaren Jackson Jr. being the kind of the anchor points of the Utah Jazz's defense heading into this next season is going to be a major focal point as far as defensive improvement goes for the Utah Jazz, which they desperately need.
Yes.
I think we saw a lot of really phenomenal scoring and a lot of really good, offense for the Utah Jazz, as far as guys like Keontae George stepping up, as far as guys like Larry Markkinen continuing to be elite, but the defense is where the Jazz need to figure things out, and the Jazz is where they need to improve the most. And here is the head coach, Will Hardy, talking about Jaren Jackson Jr. and Walker Kessler being the starting points for defensive improvements.
Protecting the rim and owning the backboard is a really good place to start. The possession battle in our league is extremely important. You see different ways to attack that. There's forcing turnovers, and then there's the rebounding margin. And I think that if those two guys are together, hopefully we can do a good job of both, but it's not going to just be them. We've seen and learned a lot about it takes an entire team to protect the rim. It takes a collective mindset to protect the rim, and it takes a lot of relentlessness to rebound in our league now. The crashing is going up from your opponents, and with the amount of threes that are shot, the variety of bounce is up. So it's going to take the whole group, but those two would be a good starting point.
It's going to take the whole group, absolutely, but you do feel a lot better when you have a guy like Jaren Jackson Jr. and Walker Kessler there back there protecting that rim. And I mean, just from that comment alone, it sounds like this team is banking a lot on relying on essentially Walker Kessler coming back for next season. And so curious to see how those conversations evolve and everything that happens with Walker Kessler. And I think every Jazz fan out there wants Walker Kessler to return for next season.
Yeah, I think there's a great love for Walker in this community. Like he's a big part of it, pun definitely intended. He is a large man.
Yes.
In case you didn't quite get the joke, let me explain it to you. And those are good guys to rely on. Tripp has shown that he was one of the best players on that Memphis team. He's a great defender, and putting him alongside Walker Kessler, who is also a great defender and, can put up a three every now and again, however many Will Hardy lets him have in a game, one or two or however many. You have those guys, and your basically non-existent defense skyrockets into potentially elite. And with guys like Nurk at backup center, with guys like Flip, who I think improved a lot this year, you have the potential to be a really well-rounded sort of team, one that you haven't seen in quite a while, and should be, good, ripe fruits of your labor.
Absolutely. And again, as kind of Will Hardy mentioned, it is a good starting point for the Utah Jazz to come out with a guy like Jaren Jackson Jr., Walker Kessler to be the starting point for defensive improvements, but it's got to be on everybody. Keontae has to be better defensively. Ace Bailey has to be better defensively, and I think every single person on that roster, whoever is still on that roster heading into this next season, has to be better defensively. And we'll pivot now a little bit to hear from Austin Ainge as he talks about where Walker Kessler's at with his decision to return to Utah or not.
I had a great meeting with Walker yesterday. He had a tough year of rehabbing, and I was so proud of him and how he showed up. He was usually here at 8 a.m. doing his rehab and on the treadmill and doing what he could with the various limitations. He showed up with a smile every day. We're big fans, but we've got to figure it out this summer with the contract.
Conversations like that and comments like that were made during the end of season press conferences, again, for both Austin Ainge and Will Hardy, just makes it feel like the organization has a lot of eggs in the Walker Kessler basket, and so they hope to have that resolved sooner rather than later.
Yeah, and they need to.
Absolutely.
He is part of the formula. You want to go forward with him. Because like I said, if you can't, who's on the market is the thing. Like, who is a starting level center that you could get in a trade, which, I mean, the Jazz have assets, so they can trade. They have some players they could trade as well, but you don't want to do that. Yeah. You want to keep the guy who knows the system, knows the culture, knows the coaches, knows the players, is what you want. So they're going to work on it. I trust actual Jedi Danny Ainge and Austin Ainge. Like, they're absolute Jedi mind tricks from Danny Ainge over the course of his career. I trust that front office to get it done the right way, because you see what they kind of built in Boston and how competitive they are. No reason to think that would change here. So I'm optimistic, maybe foolishly so, but I'm optimistic.
And you bring up a really good point, right? If Walker Kessler and the Jazz can't get it figured out, and Walker Kessler can't, end up staying a player for the Utah Jazz, what is the backup plan? And where do the Jazz go? Because Ryan Smith was on Pat McAfee yesterday, and he made a really great comment about, free agency doesn't really exist right now. The only way to improve is through trades and through the draft. And we'll listen to a little bit of what Ryan Smith had to say on Pat McAfee here in just a moment. But because free agency doesn't exist anymore, do the Jazz immediately look on the trade market and say, what big guy can we get? What center can we get to bring in and essentially replace Walker Kessler? Because the question is still out there too for Nurkic, right? Whether or not Jusuf Nurkic comes back. But just as you mentioned it earlier, it seems like Nurkic is suited to be the guy off the bench and to be your number 2 center. And I think that's a really great spot for him to be in. And a little bit of what we saw this past season, right? With him splitting time with Flip at the 4 and the 5. When Flip came in and played that 5, right? And so here's Austin Ainge talking about Jusuf Nurkic and Kevin Love and where they stand with re-signing and coming back with the Utah Jazz.
I would say that we're always balancing the on-court needs with the locker room and leadership needs. Those guys were incredible for us all year, and I thought they both played well on the court. But Walker, Nurk, Kevin are all free agents, and that's a lot of bigs. So we're going to need some bigs for sure.
We're going to need some bigs, he says. But he also lumped in Kessler in there.
Yeah.
Which again goes back to the earlier point of, hey, there's a lot of eggs inside the Walker Kessler basket right now.
Yeah, I mean, and also, why wouldn't you, if you're given the opportunity, if you're Austin Ainge, why wouldn't you be like, hey, Walker, we love you, man.
Yeah.
Like,
a lot of Walker love.
We want you to be here. We want to make sure we get this contract done,
that's part of the Jedi mind tricks you were just talking about.
Yeah, exactly. He learned well.
Yeah, he did. How would you ultimately grade this Jazz season? I know. It's a losing season, right? You're back into a position to win the lottery. But how do you ultimately grade this Jazz season, knowing that it was a season focused on youth development?
So if we're going to go with the ultimately limiting A to F grading system that schools employ, I'd probably give it like a B or a B minus.
That's crazy.
And so
I thought so too.
So, and my reasoning for that is we won't know for sure if this was an A+ season until we get to next season and we see the growth and development of these guys and we see how everything fits together. As I see it now, I think you did the assignment. You accomplished the task. You did it well within your means. Maybe you didn't. Things didn't go exactly as you planned everywhere, but overall, you got a very good look at some of your younger guys. Ace Bailey got to play the whole season, minus the little bit that he was like sick and injured at the beginning, but he finished the season strong. You got to look at some like depth guys and like Bez and Bang and oh my gosh, John Conchar, guys like that. And so, yeah, I think like a B minus, it looks good right now. I'm kind of waiting to see the sort of proof of concept come to fruition next year. But overall, solid.
I'm about in that B+ range too. And if again, not looking at it from a win-loss perspective, but just from what you've seen with the young guys and the steps that they've taken and the development that you've seen from not just your rookie Ace Bailey, who you anticipate to be an all-star caliber player down the road, but of course guys like Cody Williams, who there was questions and concerns of whether or not he can make it at the NBA level, and I think he's certainly come in and proved that he could this season. And the same thing can be said about Kyle Filipowski, same thing can be said about Bryce Sensabaugh, the same thing can be said about Isaiah Collier. And so there's just from looking at it from the youth development perspective and where the Jazz want to go with this rebuild and finding a guy like Keontae George and unlocking a guy like Keontae George, I should say, him having this breakout season this past season, absolutely. From the youth development standpoint, B+.
Yeah. Would you say Keontae would be like the MVP of this particular Jazz team like this season?
Oh, he has to be.
Yeah.
Has to be. Keontae George is the MVP for the Utah Jazz this past season. Because of the steps that he's taken. There was that stretch, I want to say it was like December, January, where he was putting up 30 a game.
Yeah.
And again, just him being able to unlock this new step in his game. There was that people asked Austin Ainge. People asked Will Hardy in the season interviews if Keontae George and the steps that he's taking have kind of sped up the rebuild, and they say and trying to see if the decisions to trade for Jaren Jackson Jr. or whatever was due to the fact that Keontae has taken just a big step, and they didn't outright come out and say it, but it helps your rebuild and it helps the process of where you're at when Keontae George had the season that he had, and that's why he's, in my opinion, the MVP for the Utah Jazz this season.
It definitely doesn't hurt when you have a guy take a leap. Like, he didn't just take a step, he took a leap.
Oh, yeah.
From year 2 to year 3.
Yes.
Which, like, it was incredible. Like, I was impressed from day one because listening to he had his struggles last year. Mm-hmm. He really did. And he comes out this year, he's putting up 30 and he's really like being a leader.
Yeah.
I think like his confidence took such a huge boost. The skill's always been there.
Yeah.
Like he's always been a really, really good ball player, but the confidence to lead the team and like be more vocal and like be confident in executing the plays and leading the team on the floor and off the floor, like in the locker room, everywhere, building on this like really excellent Utah culture that guys love being a part of. It's going to sound worse than it is. I would give Keontae my most improved. Counting the leap from year 2 to year 3, I would give him the most improved by far and away. And that is what has really helped to speed run this sort of rebuild and, not set the Jazz back another year. Instead, push them forward to where next year they should be pretty good.
So you have Keontae as your MVP and your most improved for the Utah Jazz?
No, actually. Oh. So I'm going to go in a little bit of a different direction for the MVP. I'm going to give you the good soldier, Kyle Filipowski.
Oh,
because he. Okay. So
the
success of this season.
Yeah.
What was based on losing. First of all, kind of counterintuitive, but you wanted to lose as much as you could, but you wanted to get a look at all the young guys, Flip included, and you wanted to see his versatility. Now, I think we learned that he's not a center. He's not built like one. He doesn't really have the skill set for one. That's not to get down on him. He is what he is. He is a 3-4 kind of guy, and he can do it all. He is a jack of all trades. He can really do it all. And I think because he was put in such a disadvantageous position by being asked to play the 5 when Walker's out and, Tripp is out, because Tripp could play that, 4-stretch 5 kind of role. He's trying to punch above his weight a little bit, really, actually, literally.
Yeah, literally.
So I would give him my MVP because he did exactly as the Jazz asked him to do, grew in the process, and really helped give the coaches a better sense of what's going on with the rest of the team by doing exactly what they asked him to do and fill those roles that he's not exactly suited for.
Yeah. See, that's crazy because coming into this, I had it in my mind Keontae George MVP, and I had Flip most improved.
Yeah.
So I was flipped from what you have. I think Kyle Filipowski to me is the most improved. Would win the most improved player this season, and I know you could probably go Keontae George there, but I think MVP more suits Keontae for what the Jazz have this season.
Yeah.
So
I have a different view.
Yeah.
But I perfectly understand where you're coming from.
Absolutely. We talked about it too a little bit earlier with Walker Kessler being one of the most important decisions this offseason for the Utah Jazz and one of the most important matters of business for the Utah Jazz to take care of. And then, of course, you have the lottery coming up in late May. And Ryan Smith jumped on the Pat McAfee show yesterday, and he talked about how the lottery math isn't mathing for the Utah Jazz. Here's the owner of the Utah Jazz and his take on the lottery.
And then you come in and you've got a world-class draft like you have this year with arguably some marquee players. And you're also, I came in new to the league. This is my, 4.5, 5th year, how it is. We started out when I took over. We were number 1 in the league in the regular season. Whatever. We've got to pull that car into the pit for whatever reason. And then we're here and we go into this draft process. I'm also taking over a franchise, never won the lottery, never moved up in the draft. At some point the math's got to start mathing. Like how do you do that? And the odds, and you're seeing that from a bunch of teams. So we're going to figure out a solution. I trust Adam. The ownership group's incredible around the league. We're not afraid to battle it out. There's options about flattening it. There's options about putting restrictions in there. But the most important thing is what is the rebuild experience for the NBA and how long do we want these teams to come in? And I think the difference this year that's probably kind of startling everyone is fan bases are actually on board for maybe the first time I've seen in history of, hey, you've got 10 teams. We want our teams to be down in a level. Now, when you go out on the court, I don't care who you are, our players are playing to win. This is their livelihood. This is their contract. You saw that with us. We didn't finish with the worst record. We were 4th or 5th. Our guys want to win every single night. They want big contracts. This is their opportunity. And so that's a long answer, but I think it comes in that order where if you look at everything being categorized as tanking, it's not the way to look at it. There's a rebuilding process for 8 to 10 teams every year that are going to have to go through that. And so that's the process that we should be looking at. And the lottery and the draft is kind of a downstream effect of that.
I think well put by Ryan Smith. And then obviously the big conversation and ever since probably the All-Star break, right, when the commissioner goes in and finds the Utah Jazz for winning a game against Miami in which he sat players in the fourth quarter. The big conversation since then has been the anti-tanking rules and the lottery reform that's coming up this summer. And so it'll be interesting to see what happens as far as the future of the lottery goes and as far as the future of anti-tanking. But it's so nice that the Utah Jazz, theoretically, next season will not have to be focused on that. And hopefully the maths for the Utah Jazz this season where they can find themselves in a position to move up this offseason in the lottery draft.
One can only hope.
One can only hope. We got to take a break here on the Saturday show. When we come back, we'll jump into 5 minutes of. There's still plenty to talk about, but not a lot of time left, and so we'll break it down with 5 minutes of. Coming up next here on the Saturday show, it is 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Just a bunch of guys sitting around and talking sports. This is Scotty G and Friends.
Logan Cooley, 2 years ago, is about the time things really started to break that this organization was going to move from Phoenix to Salt Lake City. And now 2 years later, you're in the playoffs. Just what does that feeling feel like for you as a player, knowing that you're going to be playing postseason hockey?
It's awesome. I mean, I think as a little kid, you dream about eventually one day winning the Stanley Cup, and just the experience we're going to gain from being in the playoffs. You know, there's some guys that on our team. I'm one of them that haven't even experienced playoff hockey. And, you know, you watch on TV, just the excitement in the buildings, how intense the hockey is. I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be unbelievable. And I'm sure the fans are going to have the Delta Center rocking. And we can't honestly wait to, you know, get started once playoffs start. You know, it's going to be the most fun hockey that, you know, I think I'm going to be a part of.
Catch Scotty G and Friends weekdays from noon to 3 on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
DJ PK and John from J. Brooks Jewelers. Do you want a ring that no one else in the world has? Here's something you need to know.
That's right, DJ. At J. Brooks Jewelers, we're a full custom jewelry house, which means that we design and create your piece start to finish right here in Utah. From the first idea you may have seen online to the very final polish, everything is done in-house by our expert team of artisans. So when you work with our custom stylists and our highly skilled artisans, there's no mass production and no middlemen, just true craftsmanship and collaboration. We'll sit down with you and talk through your vision, show you design concepts, and bring your dream piece to life with precision and care. So whether it's an engagement ring, anniversary gift, or heirloom redesign, we love creating something that tells your story. So if you can imagine it, we can make it. So come see us today at J. Brooks Jewelers in Murray or Lehigh and begin your custom journey today. J. Brooks Jewelers, your locally owned family jeweler.
Pump up the volume.
Business moves fast. Orders roll in, deadlines close in. When you ship with USPS Ground Advantage, you can keep up with confidence. Every package stays in our secure network from dock to door. And with nationwide reach, dependable tracking, and upfront affordable pricing, you get built-in peace of mind. You run the business. We run the routes. Visit USPS.com/Ground Advantage to learn more.
Veterans and active duty service members, when your call to service ends, your mission doesn't have to. Go from GI to IT in just a few months at My Computer Career. Prepare for a high-demand career in cybersecurity, protecting people, systems, and institutions from real cyber threats. Cyber warriors are needed now. Will you answer the call? Go to mycomputercareer.edu/CWP to learn more. That's mycomputercareer.edu/CWP, an elite CompTIA certification partner. VA education benefits are available to those who qualify.
Here's a tale of Becky. Didn't know what to do with new meds prescribed and no real cost clue.
She squinted at prices, that can't be right. Then tapped GoodRx and saw the light.
She can get a deal. Book telehealth if she feels.
Learn about those meds without any stress. That one little app does all the rest. Even my horse downloaded it. Dang, save time and money on prescriptions.
Check GoodRx. GoodRx is not insurance.
Breaking news for your home. Way Day. Wayfair's big sale is almost here, and you can score the best deals in home. Like up to 80% off everything home. Yes, you heard that right. 80% off with free shipping on everything. Plus surprise flash deals all Way Day long. We're talking outdoor furniture and essentials, rugs, and more. All at Wayfair, and all up to 80% off during Way Day. Shop Wayfair's Way Day from April 25th through 27th.
Wayfair, every style, every home.
It's the time of year when so many wonderful things are happening. First of all, we've got Mother's Day just around the corner. We also have a lot of engagement activities, even some early spring weddings. And of course, we have graduations and so much more. It's time to make your reservations at Ruth's Chris Steakhouse. Either location, right in the heart of downtown Salt Lake City. If you're going to be up in the mountains, they're right there, Hotel Park City, with the very best meal you have ever had. It awaits you at either locations. Now, of course, I love to talk about the steaks. The ribeye is my absolute favorite. Each and every steak is cooked to perfection. But of course, there are other wonderful entrees as well, whether it be seafood or poultry or a specialty dish. It is time. Make your reservations for those special occasions that are just around the corner at Ruth's Chris Steakhouse, heart of downtown Salt Lake City or Hotel Park City.
It's that time again.
5.
5.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5 minutes. Only 5 minutes.
Everybody got that?
Oh, yeah. It's all coming together.
Get on with it.
Tick tock, tick tock, tick tock.
Yes, get on with it.
Welcome back to the Saturday Show, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Alex Napoles and Parker along here on a Saturday morning, and we jump into 5 minutes of plenty to talk about still, but not a lot of time left in the show to talk about it. So we'll start with the NBA playoffs. We talked a little bit about it earlier with the play-in games happening. With the play-in games happening, and you have the Hornets, the Magic yesterday. The Magic ran away with it. The Hornets showed very little fight, and they ended up taking that 1-1, 121-90 over the Hornets, and that comes after a phenomenal game between the Hornets and the Heat on Tuesday night, where the Hornets knock off the Heat 127-126. That game ended up going to overtime. We talked about it a little bit with the Amazon Prime blackout that happened during the game, but the big controversy in that one too was LaMelo Ball tripping up Bam Adebayo for the injury.
Yeah.
And you have to go essentially most of the second half, all of the second half and most of that second quarter without one of your best players, if not the best player on the Miami Heat team.
I think pretty easily. Like even his insane game notwithstanding, Bam is probably the best player on that Miami Heat team. Him going out, I think, kind of caused the Heat to lose. Like, no excuses, obviously, but just looking at it, like what Bam brings to the picture and how close that game was, I think he's the difference maker, and I think Charlotte ends up falling, and you kind of see that where they really do a vanishing act against the Orlando Magic. They're just nowhere to be seen.
Yeah. Dirty play, though.
Yeah.
It's unfortunate that it ended up happening the way that it did, but the Hornets move on. The Blazers and the Suns played a really, really awesome game. The Suns ended up coming back. They were on, I think it was like a 23-5 run at one point, and then the Blazers ended up taking it late, and they move on. And then the Wednesday night games, the 76ers booked their ticket into the playoffs. The Warriors knock off the Clippers 126-121, and Golden State move on to last night's game where they end up losing. And I love the emotions, and I love the embrace that you saw Steve Kerr give his guys at the end of the game. And then, of course, that leads to the question of what's your future look like? Where are you coming back to the Warriors next season? And he basically responds with, I don't know, we'll see.
Yeah. And he said
that could be the last of we see with Steve Kerr with the Warriors, man.
Yeah, and I think if you see a new coach come in, you see probably a new roster.
Yeah.
I think you see Steph and Draymond and Pajemski. And then outside of that, I think everybody changes. And maybe even you don't see those three guys. Something has to change because they just they've not been title contenders in quite a while. They had that incredible run, what was it, 10 years ago? Something like that? Yeah.
It's been 10.
Quite a while ago that no one will ever forget, but you're not that anymore. So they do need to change, and maybe it's time for new voices in that locker room, a new perspective, new coaching, new players, so on and so forth.
Seems like a lot of the fan base agrees that it's time for new blood. It's time for a change. A lot of the comments that I saw last night after the comments that Steve Kerr made again about his future were Essentially, thanks for everything you've done. Thanks for everything you did for the organization. But it's time for something new.
Ring of Honor kind of guy, I think.
Yeah.
Ring of Honor coach.
1,000%.
Like
1,000%.
You can't take away his legacy, but yeah, sometimes you just need a change.
So we'll see what happens there with the Golden State Warriors, who, again, growing up in that era where they, what was it, 3 finals that they made it to consecutively?
4.
4 finals.
Because I believe it was them in Cleveland 4 years in a row, and I believe the Warriors won 3 of them.
That run was probably like my eye-opening moment to NBA basketball. Like that's around that time is like when I really, really started to dive into the NBA and really become a fan of NBA basketball and the product. And a lot of it has to go a little bit to the Warriors and Steph Curry and the legacy that Steve Kerr now, I guess, leaves behind with how great that team was. As far as the Western Conference goes, you'll have the Thunder taking on the Suns. You'll have the Lakers and the Rockets. LeBron, KD, one last time, maybe, possibly.
Knowing those two, probably not.
Probably not. The Nuggets and the Timberwolves, and then you have the Spurs taking on the Trailblazers. In the Eastern Conference, you have the Pistons taking on the Magic. The Cavs and the Raptors, that game live at the moment, all tied up at 31 with 25 seconds left to go in the first quarter. The Knicks and the Hawks, and then you have the Celtics and the 76ers. For all the talk that we hear about the Eastern Conference being, down and the Eastern Conference being weak, with Jason Tatum back and the way that the Boston Celtics have closed out the season, I think the Celtics take the Eastern Conference.
Really?
I do.
I think that is perfectly reasonable. I think the Celtics have had enough success that personally I would love to see the Pistons.
I would love to see somebody else do it. Don't get me wrong.
I think you're right, though. I think the Celtics have the best chance. They just seem like the most complete, well-rounded team.
Yeah.
Tatum is not a shadow of himself. He is exactly who he was before. He's looked awesome. Jaylen Brown's looked awesome. Derek White, like that whole roster, like they're so well constructed. They play so well schematically. They play for each other. It's really good. If it weren't the fact that they've won so many championships, I'd be more down for it.
I want to believe in the Cavs.
I don't.
I want to believe in the Cavs. I think that Harden move potentially does make them a better team as down the stretch here in the playoffs. But not a great look when the night before you open up Game 1 against the Raptors, the trade rumors for Donovan Mitchell are swirling all over the place. The rumors coming out of Cleveland are saying that if Donovan Mitchell does not sign an extension, they'll be looking to move on from Donovan sooner rather than later.
I would say that might be a reasonable move. You want to, if a guy's not happy somewhere, and we all know the skill that Donovan has, he would find a place somewhere else, and he probably wants to go to a not just kind of in the mix team, but like contending team.
Yeah.
So
if you're a Jazz fan, if you're a Cavs fan, that's the last thing you want to hear, though. Again, the night before you open up your first series against the Raptors, which we know the Cavaliers last year disappointed in the playoffs, disappointed as far as the expectation of where the Cavs were. They were the number 1 team in the East last year. They end up losing in the conference semifinals to the Pacers. The Pacers end up going to the championship, right, against OKC. And a lot of, pressure for the Cavaliers heading into this season. They make that trade for Harden. The pressure goes up even more when you make a trade like that, when you go all in to win this season. And so we'll see if the Cavaliers are able to do it.
Yeah, I don't have a lot of faith that they can. I don't think James Harden puts them over the edge. It was probably the right trade to make if you wanted to do that because of who was available and the price you would have to pay and everything like that. But there's something about them that just doesn't seem quite at the same level of a Boston or of Detroit, even in their own conference.
You're big on the Pistons, huh?
Yeah. I mean, I'm all for a kind of an underdog story. Like the Pistons for the last, 20 years, 30 years, something like that?
Yeah.
For a long time have been kind of the underdogs. They've been a laughing stock of the of the NBA world. So it'd be nice to see them at least make it to the finals. I think that'd be a really interesting story for me.
In the Western Conference, give me a Thunder Spurs conference finals all day, air day.
Yes.
That is a Thunder Spurs conference finals is going to feed families, as they say.
Wemby and Shea, please.
Yes.
All day. Wemby and Shea all day, every day.
Absolutely. I think the West has a really good chance of going chalk. I don't know if there's anybody else outside of the Thunder, the Spurs, and the Nuggets who really have a chance of making a conference finals. I know the Timberwolves have been there, done that, right? I don't think the Blazers have the experience yet. The Lakers, I think it'll come down a lot to Luka Doncic and his health. If Luka Doncic is healthy, they might have a chance to make a deep run. If Luka Doncic isn't 100%, I don't know if you are able to make it very far.
I think without Luka and without Austin Reeves.
And without Reeves, yes. I forgot about Reeves.
If it was just Luka and Luka was coming back at 75%, I'd say, yeah, you have a chance because, they play once every 3 days or whatever because the NBA playoffs take 2 months to do for some reason. I think they would have a chance. But without Reeves and without 100% Luka, I don't think they have a chance. I think the Rockets take this one. I'm 1,000,000,000% with you on Thunder Spurs. Mm-hmm. And either one coming out of there, totally fine with. Like going in the championship, totally fine with either one of them.
I think the only team that is, I think the biggest threat to either one of those teams right now is the Denver Nuggets. Other than that, I feel like there is a little bit of a drop off between the top three and the rest of the Western Conference field. So we'll see if the Nuggets are able to knock off. If they move on against the Timberwolves, they would face the Spurs in the conference finals. So if they knock off the Spurs, they would then make it to that conference finals. But I think everybody wants a Thunder in a Wemby versus Shai Gilgeous-Alexander conference finals. So we'll see who comes out of the Western Conference. Switching gears real quick, it is draft week. It's crazy to think that the NFL draft is coming up this week, and it feels like the Seahawks and Patriots game was literally like 2 weeks ago, and now here we are with the draft beginning this week. And I think we know Spencer Fano and Caleb Lomu are going to be first round picks and locks for that first round. I'm curious to see where the rest of the field goes as far as somebody like a Chase Roberts and a Jack Kelly. Are they day 2 or do they go day 3?
Yeah, it's an interesting question because like getting Fano and Lomu out of the way, not only are they premium positions being bookend tackles, they are some of the best in this draft. And Lomu's a great left tackle, and I keep seeing him mocked to like the 49ers. I think the 49ers would do cartwheels if they got a guy like Caleb Lomu to replace Trent Williams, probably even as early as next year.
Yeah.
Because Trent Williams is like 37 or 38. Like
I'd like that big, honestly.
He's up there in age. He's not going to play forever. Get a guy like Lomu. He's big. He's athletic. He's smart. He's everything you want. Fano probably going to go a little bit higher. Yeah. He's a little more like your Penei Sewell, where he's a really athletic right tackle. Where he's not the biggest guy. He's not like he doesn't have the longest arms, which I've seen as like a knock on him. That you might have to kick him inside to guard, which he'd be an elite guard or center. Both of these guys, absolute first round locks. It's the other guys that are the biggest question marks because they're all good players, but they're not the knockout blue chip. Yeah, they're going to come in and be game breakers on day one. Leonard Barton, Logan Fano, Dallin Bentley for Utah, Chase Roberts, Jack Kelly, Isaiah Jada for BYU. There are actually no Utah State players in this draft. I looked that up, so we'll have to wait until next year to talk about more of them. But for Utah and BYU, like there's a lot of talent there. But how that talent is valued it's a big guessing game, and that's part of what makes the draft so fun. You could see guys like Dallin Bentley, like Logan Fano, like Jack Kelly or Chase Roberts go, day 2. They could go in the 4th round, and you'd be like, yes, absolutely. Like, because we've seen them We love what they do. We know how good they are. You could also see them slipping into, late day 3. But at that point, you know that whatever team takes them, getting great value.
Absolutely. The NFL draft, again, happening this week. Everything starts up on Thursday. And we'll see where Caleb Lomu goes. We'll see where Spencer Fano goes on day 1, and then we'll see where everybody else lands on the day 2 or day 3 celebration of the NFL draft. That's coming up on April 23rd. We got to take a break. We'll wrap it up on the other side when we return here on the Saturday show. It is 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
This is Jake Scott and Ben Anderson.
Christian's never seen Almost Famous because you and I are both ancient. One of the best movies ever. And Earl is the lead singer. Jason Lee.
Jason Lee. Who started his career as a professional skateboarder. Do you know that? He's like one of the greatest skateboarders of all time. And was like, I'm going to shift into being a big-time actor.
Scientologist.
Okay.
So.
Cool.
What do you mean? Isn't it a well-known fact that Jason Lee is a Scientologist?
I just thought it was a little irrelevant to the story, but...
Well known to one out of the 3 of us.
I don't know. I was thinking of all the things that I know about Jason Lee. Ben dropped this skateboarder thing in there, which seemed fairly fascinating. I just happen to know the guy's a Scientologist. That's all. What are you implying?
About Jason Lee today.
What are you saying? I wasn't saying anything negative about him. I just pointed it out. Scientologist.
Hear Jake Scott and Ben Anderson every day from 10 to noon on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Spring is calling, and we're not sending into voicemail. I bet you're thinking about heading south this spring, but what if you tried something different, like Cedar City and Bryan Head? With gas prices going up, this is the kind of trip that gives you more vacation for the tank you're already on. Start with 3 Peaks OHV trails that say, go ahead, take the scenic route, then cool it down with disc golf. Because yes, you can be competitive and outdoorsy at the same time. Next, Thor's Hideout. Legendary hike, epic payoff. And if you want the kind of ride you'll talk about all week, hit the Iron Hills Trail System, now an official recreation trail. Just need to chill? Frontier Homestead Park, Cedar City Veterans Park, or play around at Cedar City Golf Course. Then finish strong with local dining, shopping, and small town charm in the historic downtown of Cedar City and Parowan. Spring is calling. Answer it with a one-tank getaway at visitcedarcity.com.
97.5, the KSL Sports Zone is your radio home for live local sports. Saturday night, Real Salt Lake tries to continue its hot start at home against San Diego. Pre-game show starts at 6:30. The game kicks off at 7:30 on 97.5 FM. Meanwhile, the Salt Lake Bees host the Sugarland Space Cowboys. That game starts at 6:35 on 1280 The Zone. If you want to introduce your company to Utah sports fans and have your company's name mentioned right here, email Stephanie Palmer at spalmer@ksl.com and join the winning team at KSL Sports.
Here's the secret no one's telling you about those trendy weight loss shots. You may have to take them for life, and many people gain the weight back after stopping. With the Salt Lake City Fat Loss Program, there's a better way. The proprietary natural-based program they utilize has helped thousands of people lose weight and keep it off long-term. Imagine losing up to 10 to 20% of your body weight in just 8 weeks without muscle loss, side effects, or yo-yo rebounds. Ready to transform your body for life? Schedule your free personalized consultation today at slcfatloss.com.
JJ here. I lost 40 pounds in 60 days thanks to this program that gave me the direction and the structure I needed.
Alex Curie here. I dropped 65 pounds in just 60 days. That was 2 years ago on Salt Lake City Fat Loss. But the most important thing after losing that weight in 60 days, I've kept it off for those full 2 years. You can do it too. SaltLakeCityFatLoss.com.
Many clients lose 20 to 30 pounds in a month or two. Schedule your free consultation today by going to slcfatloss.com. That's slcfatloss.com. Results may vary.
Did you know bad bacteria causes cavities and tooth decay? Did you know bad bacteria feed off residue left by sugary foods and drinks? Keep your family healthy. Your smile matters.
Be sure to brush 2 times daily for at least 2 minutes with fluoride toothpaste.
Floss once a day and limit sugary foods and drinks like sweetened juices, candies, and sodas.
Even sugar-free carbonated drinks can be harmful to teeth. Be sure to visit your dentist for regular checkups and cleanings. If you don't have a dentist, visit yoursmileutah.org for more information on community dental services. This message is brought to you by Utah Oral Health Coalition, Utah Dental Association, University of Utah School of Dentistry, the Utah Department of Health and Human Services, and other Utah health partners. Remember, a healthy smile means a healthier life. Learn more at yoursmileutah.org.
Because your smile matters.
Stay up to date with everything Utah Jazz related with the new Jazz Notes newsletter. Get draft updates, analysis, and be the first to know about every offseason move. Visit KSLSports.com to sign up for the Jazz Notes newsletter.
Hey, this is Chris with JCW's. Are your kids picky eaters? Bring them in and try our chicken fingers or a grilled cheese sandwich. They'll be smiling big in no time. JCW's, quality and a lot of it.
Wrapping things up here on this Saturday show, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Alex Napoles, Parker Long, thank you for making us a part of your Saturday morning. Parker, you brought up a really interesting question to me during the break that I want to bring up and talk about a little bit here as we wrap things up, and it is the play-in tournament worth it? Obviously, right now, the NBA playoffs just wrapped up the play-in tournament. The field is set, but is the tournament actually worth it?
So I'll field this question to you because I'm the one that came up with it. You're asking me my own question. That seems unfair. But I'll kind of couch another question in there. So is the play-in tournament worth it for you as a viewer? Do you enjoy the experience of watching the win or go home basketball in the NBA?
Absolutely.
And do you feel like it puts the best product on the floor?
Absolutely. I mean, you look at the games that just happened this week that just wrapped up. We talked about it a little bit in the last segment where that Charlotte-Miami game that went to overtime was phenomenal. I really, really enjoyed watching that Portland-Phoenix game. The Clippers and Golden State was super fun to watch as well. Because the stakes are higher and because there is actually qualifications now to the actual NBA playoffs, and it's winner go home basketball. Like, it is when there is something on the line, it is much more fun to watch. And I think that's part of the reason why people struggle with the regular season, how long it is, and how most of the times it feels like some games sometimes don't have as much hype. If there's not, say, a Shai Gilgeous-Alexander playing, Wemby, right? There's not a big storyline like that heading into a game, whereas you look at the play-in tournament and every game is a winner go home, and I think that alone builds up really great excitement for it.
Yeah, I think I 100% agree. And what kind of prompted this question was, we're coming off of the NCAA tournament and how exciting that is with every single game being win or go home. And that makes every single game matter infinitely more than really any of the 82 regular season games that you play in the NBA, any of the regular 25 or however many it is in an NCAA regular season. The stakes cannot be higher than you lose and you go home. So I think with the play-in tournament, obviously you can't really have a playoffs where it's win or go home. I think that would kind of be a little counterintuitive to what the NBA wants, and it means that you're not getting kind of the best overall product necessarily. But the play-in tournament to me has been a really exciting and fun time.
Yeah, I think from a viewership standpoint, absolutely, it is worth it. As far as, I guess, worth it for, say, a 10-seed team, maybe it's not as much worth it because there's only been one 10-seed who has actually made it into the playoffs thanks to the play-in tournament. That was last season when the Miami Heat, as a 10-seed, found their way into the NBA playoffs after taking down Chicago and Atlanta. They ended up sneaking in as the 8th seed despite being 10th in the standings. That's the only time the 10th team has ever made it. The 9 team hasn't had as much luck. The last time a 9 team made it was back in 2022. But other than that, it's been pretty chalky as far as the 7 and the 8 making it into the NBA playoffs.
Well, I mean, really, at the end of the day, the best teams should be playing in the playoffs, right? Which, that idea, you could just nix the play-in tournament and just say, okay, top 8, that's who gets in. But there is a certain level of intrigue with the play-in tournament where you can have a 10 seed, you can have a Miami come in and, ideally they don't get swept in the first round like Miami did. You're kind of banking on that possibility, that potential Cinderella story, even though it's not going to work out 99 times out of 100, the one time it does, everybody's going to be talking about it, and
Absolutely.
everyone's going to tune in more next year to see that potentially happen again, even though the odds are not in that favor.
Ultimately, the play-in tournament, I think it's worth it. You get extra basketball, and I'm all here for more basketball.
Extra meaningful basketball.
There you go. Thank you for the correction. Extra meaningful basketball. I'm here for it. Today's schedule looks like this. The Salt Lake Bees have a doubleheader. It starts at 3:50 over on 97.5 and 1280. And then the RSL pregame show starts up at 6:30 on 97.5. You can catch that there. Tomorrow we'll have a Utah Mammoth extended pregame that kicking off at 5 p.m. And that will lead you up to the Utah Mammoths' first playoff game against the Vegas Golden Knights. That puck drop is at 8 p.m. tomorrow. You can hear that and wall-to-wall coverage of all the sports that you love here in the city of Utah here on 97.5 the KSL Sports Zone. Don't forget to go download the app. Don't forget to go follow all the podcasts to keep up with all your favorite teams. And that's going to do it for us here on another edition of the Saturday Show. Parker, thanks again for sitting in, man.
Love doing it. Anytime you guys want to have me back, I will be back here.
Absolutely. Big shout out to Parker Long for stepping in for Christian Esparza while he's been out on his baby sabbatical. Big shout out to Sean Croshaw for pushing the buttons today and for stepping in with Jake and Ben too, as well as Christian Esparza is out. We hope to have Christian Esparza back with us next Saturday, and that's going to do it for us here on the Saturday Show. 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Whether you're stuck in the office,
I believe you have my stapler,
in your car, or at your in-laws.
You want a piece of me? You bet I do.
The Zone is with you every step of the way. Download the KSL Sports app to get live streaming of your favorite shows and access